Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And there is a few things to talk about here. Mark has played the Street Fighter 6 demo, so he has thoughts about that. Dead Island 2 has gotten off to some big sales. The Mario movie is still going crazy and breaking records. And we got some Nintendo Indie World stuff to get into as well, along with some other news and notes. And we will get into that right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
And just to go ahead and get out of the way, as always, whether it's your first time listening or watching or your 100th time watching or listening, we do appreciate you. You can watch us live on Monday nights, somewhere between the time of 9 to 11 p.m. Usually try to start by 10, but sometimes things happen and we can't, like today. But either way, we will be on demand for you on Tuesday early. For those that want to watch later, which you can do so on YouTube at WTM Network. And then you can also watch on like all the other streaming places that we do it live, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or whatever. That's WTM Network as well. And then, of course, if you're the folks that like to listen with your ears still, which is also me, everybody likes to do video, even we do, and I'm still listening to podcasts with my ears most of the time. You can do that. Remember, again, just want to always preface this that we no longer have the network feed on the audio side, so you have to go find us at Video Games to the Max. Where everything else is, WTN Network, you have to go find us Video Games to the Max on the audio side. Wherever it is that you like to listen to audio, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, whatever, we are there. You can subscribe, like, follow. Anytime we do a show, it is there for you. And then, of course, if you like what you hear or you go visit the channel, you see there's other stuff there. Radlerton Broadcasting, they're doing a show right now, actually, reviewing a TV show. They just they did their review of Renfield from last week. I'm not sure which movie they're doing this week, but they always have a movie every week that they're doing, and they pretty much like to keep up with everything. And we have Todd the Keiki keeping up with the anime thing. MMA for Marx is doing a show right now as well. They keep up on the MMA side. There's wrestling as well in there. So plenty of stuff for you to check out aside from us. But if you like everything video games, that's what we kind of tend to do here. And we'll start off here with, I guess, talking about some games we played. Sure. Mark, you played that Street Fighter 6 demo.
Yeah. I think what was the open beta, a month or two ago, whenever it came out. This kind of put it out. It's good. There's only two fighters, Ryu and the bland guy. I forget his name. I don't care.
yeah. Okay, the guy that's on the cover.
Yeah, I think it's not Seth, but he has like some dumb generic name.
Yes.
And he plays like a Ryu clone, or he has like a fireball or like a dragon punch, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it seems good, or it seems a little more approachable. I didn't do the avatar creator because I don't care, but I just played the fighting engine stuff, and yeah, you can like. It has like not the V trigger system from 5 and I think 4, but it has like kind of a parry system, is also like a anime attack looking system, which is kind of cool. Yeah, seems good. My only problem is the roster is filled with like interesting looking characters with some of the dumbest names possible.
I was going to say, like, is there anything necessarily new?
Like the two, like the parry is kind of new, and the like special or the power attack, because you have like this 6 gauge meter at the top, and basically like when you do a parry or do a the attack, like it drains one of the boxes from that. I mean, it refills eventually, but if you keep parrying or attacking, then it kind of like you basically get like knocked out, and you get, I think it's called like not overblown, but like overdrawn, or like something correlated. And it's like, oh, now you have to like, you can't do those attacks anymore, and if you get hit hard, you'll get dazed. Have the dizzy animation.
All right. I mean, it's good that at least you enjoyed it. I mean, were you able to check out anything? Didn't it let you do the world tour mode, or you didn't?
No, you could
do
just,
that
like I said, I didn't create the avatar, but you could just create that, and that was it. Because it's not going to let you play the world tour mode.
Oh, okay. It doesn't let you play anything. It just lets you mess around with the character creator. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, my only problem is like the other guy's name is Luke, but like,
Okay.
yeah, just some of the
You're right, very generic.
yeah, like all the new characters have like these like American accent names, or just like Kimberly, Jamie, Marissa, Lily. It's like, what do they have? Some like white guy, some American guy just naming these characters. Like, why don't you have any of these like creative names anymore, or interesting names?
Yeah, that's what it like. They were talking about what the first 4, I guess, DLC characters are.
Yeah,
And it's like, damn, I remember a time when we had characters that didn't sound like you're just run of the mill character here.
right.
Ed, I guess Rashid is kind of
Well, he's
a
from Street
decent
Fighter
name.
5 also.
Yeah. At
But
least
yeah.
Akuma's coming pretty early, and then Aki, which I guess shouldn't be confused with the wrestling.
No. Yeah,
engine
Aki's been a main
creator.
character, or been a character for a while also.
Yeah.
But also it's funny because like the super deluxe version of the game, like the $250 one, comes with 2 statues of Luke and Kimberly, and it's like, yes, everyone's favorite, like you couldn't like put in like one old guy in there instead, like.
I guess they want to, as they've been doing, as they did with 5, right? Just kind of milk it along, and you can get people hooked by having the older characters later.
That leads to that leads to the problem of Mortal Kombat 4, where they had like a pretty split roster, but then no one liked the new characters, and they've barely ever made an appearance ever again. Like Quan Chi did, and he's kind of a joke, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But as for the game itself, it seemed cool. Like, I'm sure we'll be getting the code, and I'm sure I'll be the one reviewing it. So,
yeah, I know you're excited for that. You're gonna get might get 2 in a row there that you'll be like reviewing back to back, considering what's coming out around that time. So, but good to know you enjoyed it at least.
Yep.
Anything I forgot to ask you last week. You had been talking about that PS3 dev kit that you showed
this
off.
goddamn thing. Yeah, let me rant on that for a minute. Okay, I had to put custom firmware on it because the hard drive is locked out of the box, and I couldn't figure out like how to unlock it. Like I couldn't even like drag a file onto the hard drive. It would just be like access is denied. You need different permissions or some bullshit. I even asked a dude who worked at Rockstar. Like he was like worked on like the networking side. He doesn't work there anymore, but like he was around for the PS3, and he was like, I don't have a clue. Or he's like, I forgot, but let me try to remember, and he never got back to me. So the easiest way to do this was custom firmware. So I did that. Installed a few games. I got Gears of War 3 working on that thing.
Interesting.
Which barely runs, but is just kind of cool from a, just a what if scenario, or like, yeah, this works. I mean, it doesn't work well because it's not optimized at all, but it runs, And then I found 4 other games like online to run like beta stuff. Until Dawn was originally a PS3 game,
Oh
not
wow.
not PS4, and it runs, but it has the fatal flaw of I can't actually run it correctly because it requires the PS3 Move camera, which I do have, but also the PS3 Move controllers, which I don't have. And even if I did, I couldn't use them because they're wireless, and my dev kit doesn't have Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
which is kind of an issue.
So were the move controllers at one point ever like
No,
where you were connected into something?
the dev kit, it's supposed to come with a Wi-Fi antenna that mine doesn't have,
Oh, okay,
and I'll
okay.
never be able to find online.
Yeah.
I mean, I can maybe try to source it or something, but it's impossible. And then I found a few other betas for like Need for Speed Most Wanted, Dead or Remember Me, and Dead Space 1, and I couldn't get any of those to run correctly. Like that thing is like solve one problem and then it creates two more.
Right.
But I'm happy I at least got Gears of War on there. Like that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, at least like you said, it's a thing you can say you have, and you got some things running on it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you weren't able to.
I have to burn. I have to actually buy and then burn some Blu-ray discs because I can't transfer anything to the network, like over a network to that thing, because it just kind of fails out. And that thing only has a FAT32 file system, so I can't transfer like games over 4 gigabytes. And most games are bigger than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna try to install The Last of Us 1 on it because people have unlocked the debug functionality for that, and that's crazy because like that game was supposed to have a co-op mode.
Right. The one that they're trying to, well, not the co-op, that's the multiplayer. But
yeah, no, this was a straight up co-op mode where like one person plays Ellie, one person plays as Joel.
I wonder why they never put that in.
Probably because there are times in that game where you are separate.
Right.
And it would have been like too much of a hassle for them to like, if you're playing as Joel only in a building, like, oh, what do I do for Ellie? Or, you have to like program like a whole new section for her, or, stuff, something like that. That's my theory. And it's also apparently like pretty buggy because it's not, finished. But yeah, it's cool.
Hey, it's cool that you happen to find that, and if you can get it working,
yeah,
let me know because that'd be cool.
Now it's sitting in my closet, which was an ordeal in itself.
Yeah, I bet that was a pain to get in there. I remember last time you said that was really heavy. So
yeah, indeed it is.
Well, anything else that?
Still messing around with Everspace 2 a little bit. That's about it. You still octopathing it up?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through the chapter 3s, and then most of them kind of. That's it. Like
I actually almost would have bought that game last week because GameStop had that like buy one get one deal going on. But it was only the Switch version. And it's like, I would rather have this on PS4 or PS5.
That sucks. PS4. I did see that there's a sale for it to be $45, but obviously you don't get the buy one get one.
Yeah, for that sale, if I would have bought like Zelda, Skyward Sword HD or Bayonetta 3, and then Octopath or something else.
Yeah, I mean, if you do ever get it, it's definitely worth it. You're gonna at least have something to take up your time.
Yeah,
for a while. But yeah, like you said, I would definitely recommend getting it on the PS5 if you can, because I did have some problems. Now this was on the TV, so I don't know if when you play it on the actual like portable it does it, but on the TV I did have some issues where it was randomly like had some slowdown and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I'd had the game running for a while. If I maybe would have started it up fresh before I did the boss battle, it might not have done that. But yeah, I'm almost to the point where I'm getting close to the end. I feel like I put 80 something hours in that game.
Right.
And I'm enjoying every moment of it. I think one thing I haven't talked about here is like how really good the music is in this game. Like, it's actually pretty impressive how all of the characters each have their own like theme that kind of transitions into the battle theme when it's their boss battle that you're fighting, because technically remember that your party is non-existent. They're just kind of there when you're doing one of the story things. So it's really just you're playing that story through that character's eyes, and then the party appears when you're doing battles and stuff. But you do get more of that banter with the other ones. As further I've gone along, you get more and more banter because they've obviously gone through more and more things. So they have more things to relate to with each other. And you do kind of get the ones that have the cross stories, those tend to talk to each other more in the banter as well, which is actually kind of neat. Like having that more of that connection with each other of like, oh, that's the one that reaches out to, Oswald, for example, when he finds out some big moment in his story, the one that he has to progression with in their story is the one that kind of reaches out to him, and says, oh, I'm going to help you when that time comes or whatever. And it's really neat to see. It's something like you didn't get in the first game again. And it's like, again, it makes you kind of keep wanting to watch, but each of the stories they've ramped up really well. Like each of the stories had moments that I was like, oh, damn, that got me, it's like, it's really good. I don't think there's one that I just had no interest in at all. I do think like the merchant class is a bit like, it has some cool support skills that actually help your party out if you can, because everybody can have a second job, right? And you can rotate them around. So what I did was I let everybody have the merchant's like support skill where you can have a boost power at the beginning and then also have like the full latent power gauge, which is the new thing where they have like it's kind of like a limit break, but it's kind of not. So that's neat that they have these like secondary jobs that you can mess around and all of them have, and then you have the one that you stick with, which you can gives you extra skills and stuff like that. So, just hopefully this week I'm going to get to the final end, and then I can, even though I don't know how much I'm going to play, because this week is where all the games that I've been waiting to want to play are either hitting Game Pass or one we're going to talk about a little bit later got just shadow revealed. And I was like, wow, of all the weeks for it to come out, it comes out tomorrow. So that might be what I'm going to be doing for the next, it'll be the game that I'm going to be talking about, if there's a show next week. So yeah. And then after that's Redfall and some other stuff. So those definitely going to be things for us to talk about here soon. Sorry, I should have played Minecraft Legends, and I probably should have played a few other things, but I kind of got caught up again and seeing how far I could get in Octopath, and was like, damn it, I ran out of time. The time is not your friend sometimes with these things. But I love the fact that my internet goes out right when I'm about to transition to something else. But anyway, that's the thing that happens when you're doing live streaming sometimes. So I think that's going to do it for us talking about games we have played. Let's talk about some games that are either coming to something or have released this week. First of all, just some stuff that I did mention Game Pass here. So some games that I'm definitely looking forward to or that have already come out. Minecraft Legends is out already. Coffee Talk episode 2. If you like the first one, definitely go play this. I've heard it's even better. And then you got Medieval Dynasty and Homestead Arcana, which is like a farming game, but with like you're a witch. So it has more magical stuff in it.
Listen, I'll tell you a game.
I guess you could call it that. So, close enough.
Yeah.
And then a game that I've actually really been waiting a long while for, Cassette Beasts, which is like sort of like a Pokemon type game, and they have fusions and stuff like that. It's coming to consoles like later in the year, but it's coming out on PC Game Pass in a couple of days. So, and then you got Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, which you reviewed, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I never played.
Oh no, you didn't play that one. Okay,
Nope.
of like the one that you
I'm
didn't
sure
play.
it's another one of those types of games.
And then the last case of Benedict Fox was another one of those Annapurna joints that I've actually been really excited about as well. It has kind of like a dark aura to it, has some puzzles in there too. So that'll be another one I'm going to be looking forward to as well. So, and then of course Redfall on the 2nd. You got the PlayStation Plus stuff, which if you didn't think that Microsoft and Sony are working together, Microsoft is very much playing nice here with what you can go get right now for extra and premium, because it's almost all Bethesda stuff. Wolfenstein 2, the second game, Wolfenstein the Old Blood, all of the old Dooms, the PS4, like, you know, Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, 64 version are all part of the premium. Dishonored Definitive. Evil Within, like the Doom Eternal, like pretty much every freaking Bethesda thing you could think of is gonna be on this month. If you still haven't played Slay the Spire, definitely go check it out. Sackboy Big Adventure was pretty great at the launch of the PS5. I would check that out. And Paradise Killer is a pretty great game as well. So some good stuff here. And as well as Kena. I forgot to note that Kena was one of my favorites from the year it came out too. So some good stuff in here. If you like Bethesda games, you can't complain. If you're a PS Plus subscriber, you got plenty of that in there. And not to be left out, Nintendo added some Sega Genesis games in here, Mark.
All the big hits.
Hey, at least they added some decent ones. Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. So they're getting on the Street Fighter craze as well, knowing that Capcom's about to release a new one. So this mixes Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition together, along with some like boss fighters and stuff. I don't know if you ever played this or.
Yeah, but I played it with the crappy 3-button controller, so it sucked ass.
That helps too.
Yeah.
Pulseman, which is kind of cool because it was made by Game Freak. It's the last Game Freak game made by them before they officially started working on Pokemon. And it actually like only released physically in Japan, and it was only here in North America through the Sega channel, if you remember what that was.
Yeah.
Most people probably don't. But Sega actually had, you know, an online game service.
Well, it wasn't online. It was like through a cable system or through a cable.
But you could play games through it, which was what was different. Like, you know, the precursor to all these things we have now, which is kind of cool.
Well, it was a cartridge that you like plug in the coax cable into, so it would like download the game to the cartridge, but it had a very small like memory size, like memory limit. So like Mortal Kombat 2, I think, was split into 2 games. Like half the fighters were on like one side, you know, and half were on the other.
That's
like,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
They had that back then, and they made it work. Like it's crazy. Like at the outset of the internet and all that, it was there.
Yeah. I mean, the crazier thing, which never came out in America, was like the Super Nintendo Satellaview, because that was like getting from like a satellite, you know.
Yeah, that was where you got that Chrono Cross Radiant Dream thing from, right?
Yeah, and there's like a Zelda game like locked to that thing.
Yeah, yep, that too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Nintendo never thought about like putting that into some other game at some point. And then they Kid Chameleon, which that's a game I do remember playing.
Yeah, that's a great game. It's really hard but good. Like they should do an HD remake of that.
Yeah, it's definitely one. If you have the expansion pass, go check this out. It's I remember having a lot of fun with it. I died a lot, but And then Flicky was also a 1984 Sega arcade game that they brought in to the Genesis too. So yeah, lots of stuff being added here, and we're not done yet. Humanity, apparently, give credit to PlayStation. They may not be the biggest games, but they are adding games as day one PS Plus. So every month since March, we've had a day one game. You know, you had Chia in March, you had Meet Your Maker as part of the PS Plus essential stuff in April, and then you have Humanity that's going to come May 16th as a day one game. Of course, this is also, you can use it with VR. It's supposed to be, you know, a big PSVR 2 and VR 1 game that you can play, but you can also play it just on your console as well, or on PC. And did you play the demo?
No, I think Humanity, is that like
that's the one with the dog that leads the people around? And
oh yeah, that's the Lemons game. No,
yes,
I didn't play that, but it looks cool.
I mean, it's it is kind of interesting. Like, it's one that I've seen, and I'm like, you know what, I might check this out. Enhanced does great stuff. Obviously, they did you know, Tetris Connected, all that.
Rez,
so
yeah,
Rez. So definitely one that if you like those kind of games, I would give them a shot. And hey, it's going to be on PS Plus, so you know, why not? And I guess the first big release of all these releases we're going to have in a row, for a while, we're going to have at least one big release a week. Dead Island 2 is the first one of those.
Yep.
And it actually sold pretty well. Consider all things considered, you know, we were all sitting here with both of us. How many times have we talked about it being delayed, and how many times have we talked about, oh man, this doesn't look good? You know, are we going to be talking about another bomb for Deep Silver, and, you know, by extension, Embracer and all that? And lo and behold, it's actually over 1 million copies sold in 3 days.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you know, it doesn't stand up to the Resident Evil 4 milestone and all that. But
to me, if they probably only sold 200,000 copies, the other 800,000 were all pre-orders from like 10 years ago.
You may not be wrong. There could be quite a few pre-orders that people just forgot to pick up.
Yeah, they just randomly get sent a game like, oh yeah, I did pre-order that 9 years ago.
All right. People have had it on their the GameFly queue forever.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there like, oh, hey, that came in the mail. All right, let's go. But they've logged all the people that have bought the game, or they've logged 11 million hours of playtime. They've died 28 million times, and they've slayed over 1.1 billion zombies since it came out on the 21st. We had Kyle on to talk about the PSVR 2. He was playing it at the time.
Yeah,
and you know,
he liked it. Or he
liked it a lot. He likes it a lot. He gave his thoughts on it on the latest spectator mode, which you guys can go check out as well. Over there from the Outer Haven guys, and he likes it a lot. He's been sitting there talking about when this game came out that he hoped it did well. So it looks like it's going to be doing that. I don't know how much more it will sell with you know, the big game that's coming out next week, probably going to take up a lot of space as far as people deciding, you know, because people are going to have to start, people that don't have money to buy everything that comes out, you're going to have to start making decisions here, what you want to buy. And Dead Island 2 might be having to make some space for, you know, a certain Star Wars game that's coming out this week. So we'll see how that goes, but it is good to hear that people are enjoying it, whether they're laughing at the stuff that's going on with limbs flying around, or just watching all the kills happen. And I saw like a video of like a montage of a bunch of different kind of kills, and I was like, that does look like fun, something I could definitely play for a little bit. I'm not like somebody that just wants to play a game where that's kind of what you do, but you know, It seems fun for a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of selling, if you didn't know, for some reason you've been living under a rock, that Super Mario Brothers movie is out there. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now. And most of you are seeing it over and over again because this thing is now at 871 million worldwide. The impressive thing to me, Mark, is how close the worldwide and North America numbers are. Like normally you see like a big disparity between domestic and when you go international, right? And this hasn't even come out in Japan yet. It comes out in Japan on Friday.
Yeah.
So can you imagine when it comes out in Japan? And this week it doesn't really have any competition at all. It's definitely going to be number one again. That's definitely going to make it hit that 1 billion mark. Like you said, I don't know how much more over a billion because we do have the big behemoth of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out.
Yeah.
The week after. So we'll see, what happens there. But right now, there's nothing stopping this thing. It made another 58 million over the weekend domestic, which is the highest for an animated movie ever in its third weekend, which that's incredible by itself. It could potentially do that again this weekend. I had a friend at a coworker who could still not get seats for the 4DX showing altogether with his wife and kid. So like people are still going out and seeing this thing in the specialty
you could
theaters too.
Not see it in 4DX. I mean,
well, he went and saw it in 3D, but I'm just saying, like the fact that people are going to this, this one theater that we have in the Miami area, and they're still going out there and seeing it, or they're probably seeing it. They've seen it once regularly, and now they're going out to see it there. That's still pretty great there for that.
Yeah.
Of course, this led to people once again asking the question. So when are we going to get something else? When are we going to get a sequel announced? When are we going to get another Nintendo movie? And Miyamoto basically went on record saying, please keep an eye on our next production. This time Mario was focused, but Nintendo is like a talent agency. We have many other entertainers on our roster. So he gives the hint.
Now here's the Pikmin movie.
Man, you know how disappointing that would be if that's the next thing after this. I mean, it's gonna be Zelda, right? Like,
no, it'll probably be another Mario movie.
But he just mentioned that the next production may not have Mario. Like we have other characters.
It'll be the Yoshi movie, Yoshi's Island. They're making a movie about that finally.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say the three biggest, possibilities are Zelda, Metroid, or Kirby.
Yeah, I think definitely. I just think you've got so much with. Of course, by the time this comes out, it may not matter because we don't really know what Nintendo has in the pipeline.
I would say the problem with Zelda though is like that. Unlike Mario, that like Zelda has a fucking story. Like
right?
They literally wrote a lore book for Zelda, like the timeline book. So, like, what version of Zelda do you take, or what do you do?
That's the interesting part too, is exactly which era of Zelda are we going to start at? Are we going to try to go in chronological order? Are we going to also, is that really something that Illumination can do? Because we really don't.
No.
Illumination makes the kind of movies that we see the Mario movie was made from. Despicable Me.
Yeah, it'll be
Minions.
full of like Octoroks making dumb jokes or shit like that.
Yeah, like Zelda doesn't. It can be a bit childish.
Yeah,
but it doesn't play well that way. Like when you think of the more beloved Zelda stories, they have a tinge of darkness to them. They have a tinge of more seriousness to them. It's not happy-go-lucky Zelda. I mean, or Link, and he's going on an adventure, but his
It's not
adventures.
making like
Yeah,
dumb jokes, or there's not a ton
yeah.
of humor. You know,
There's not a lot of stuff to make humor out of. He's not just cute and cuddly characters. Let me just stomp on them and
right?
get a it's Ganondorf is a serious. I mean, just like Bowser's kind of played for laughs. You don't play Ganondorf for laughs. That's not him.
Right.
So
He'll be
and
singing a
the
song called
Triforce is
He'll be singing a song called Zelda.
So, Zeldy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Maybe they do spin it to another studio. Maybe that Netflix project resurfaces. Who knows how they're gonna handle that? Kirby definitely. Kirby is right up there in the same kind of vein of Mario.
I mean,
You can
each property kind of has its problems, because like Kirby has the opposite problem. Really, it like has no story, like less of a story than fucking Mario. And Mario, you can say, oh, he's a plumber, or he at least has jobs, or he has a brother. Like, what is Kirby? Like, it's a pink ball.
Yeah, I mean, they technically have an anime to go off of, and
Yeah, it's called Right Back at You. It was really terrible.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you know what they should do, honestly? Punch Out.
They could do that, right?
Yeah.
The boxing is gaining back popularity. The Creed movies are doing well. So
that, or Metroid. The problem with Metroid also is like Samus barely talks. Like,
right,
she has like no one to bounce ideas off of, or it's a pretty solitary game.
right.
So that's an issue, kind of. But realistically, I think a Luigi's Mansion movies will probably happen. But
Yeah, for sure.
Star Fox.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think they'll do a Star Fox movie?
Because that is a character, like, it has enough of a story they can make something out of it. I don't think Illumination will do it per se, but I mean, just as a movie or a CGI movie, like,
yeah,
a pretty good main character that has like obvious, like, actual traits, like a personality.
Right. He has a cast around him.
Clear good guys and bad guys, and it would look cool. Or you can make really cool battles out of the what Star Fox does. So sure.
I definitely don't think Star Fox will be like the next one, but I could see if the next movie does well that's not Mario related, it could be in the pipeline. My only issue with, now again, Star Fox brings a nostalgia that even if the games aren't doing well, I think it would do well as a movie. But my issue with it is that Star Fox has got about as much play right now as some bottom of the barrel Nintendo games, because they haven't had a good game since the 64.
Yeah, they've driven Star Fox into the ground. But I mean, what they could do also, I mean, maybe not a new game because they've proven incapable of that.
Yeah.
But like an HD remake.
Yeah, they could.
Completely remake the game and like good graphics and go, here you go,
Or take that and make it longer, right? Because that game was fairly short.
Yeah.
Also, they also have Fire Emblem in the bag as well somewhere that they could pull out.
Yeah, but that's another. It's like the Zelda issue, kind of like what Fire Emblem do you pick?
That's like also something they could easily do as an anime.
Yeah,
if they want to siphon that out to Netflix or whatever they want to do with that. So they already have cutscenes in some of the games that way. So why not? They have stuff. I mean, like we've talked about before, Metroid could easily be a TV show and do that way better than Halo. So it just depends on what they want to do. But I think definitely they have, as Miyamoto himself says, they have the cast of characters to be able to do their own universe if they want to. It's just
forget Mario, Dr. Mario.
Right. He'll be in the next one.
Yeah.
So, that that's the thing that I'm sure we will be talking about until they actually announce whatever it is. But still good to see the Super Mario movie doing well.
Yep.
I did mention that the Star Wars Jedi Survivor game is coming out on Friday, the 28th, and some, I guess, controversy has started to come out about the physical version. Now, for people like me, I don't give a crap. I buy the digital one, whatever. But people like Mark, who like to have physical versions of your games,
I like to have the cheapest version.
yeah, well, that too. But usually that is the physical version, right? Because the digital ones, it takes a while for them to go on sale, and then they also can rip the sale right out of you if they want. Whereas the physical ones usually, once they go on sale, they don't put them back at
Right.
that old price or whatever. The thing with this is that apparently there's first of all, the file size is ridiculously huge for the PS5 and Series X and PC versions. It's 150 gigabytes. I think I've seen somewhere around, it may even be like 170. And then, but on the Series S, where they don't have the 4K textures, it's 44. So,
Right. Honestly, they should.
Yeah.
What they should do is just put like the 1080p version on the disc, and say, "Hey, if you want the 4K version, download it. Here you go." But
Yeah,
that's what other games have done. It's not out of the realm.
Yeah, exactly. They could do that, right? They could just say, okay, if you don't want the 4K, you don't have a 4K TV, you don't need it, then here, this is the version you download. Also, there's this hasn't, I don't think it's been confirmed, but there's a rumor going around that only the first hour is actually on the disc, and then the rest of the game has to be downloaded, which obviously doesn't really matter at this moment and won't matter probably for a long time. But if we ever get to the point again where, let's say we're around the PS7 times and they're going to shut down the service to the PS5,
Yeah.
You may not be able to play that game if you don't have it already downloaded on your system.
Right.
So, again,
the bigger problem also is like, even nowadays, like, not everyone has internet or good internet. So,
right. Yeah.
I mean, is there a big sticker in the disc saying like online play or online required?
Online required to download. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it basically makes you install. So, we've been having these, this has been away for a while, but when you have the discs, especially on the PS5, I don't know if it does this on the series still or not. I know for the Xbox One, it didn't matter if you had the disc or not. It made you install the whole game. For the PS4, it only made you install part of the game because you had the disc.
Right.
With this game, regardless of whatever you buy it on, you have to install the entire game on your console, which, if you don't have the SSD, that also takes up a lot of space in your console.
Yeah, have you seen
to be able to play it? Yeah.
Side note, have you seen like how cheap PS5 SSDs are nowadays?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Which proves my point.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. Xbox said for a long, when they first came out, they said, "Oh, we're going to have third-party ones," and they just have never materialized.
Yeah, and then it never happened.
So,
and they're like, wait a second.
Exactly. So that's the thing, is I think also they're just not seeing the return on investment for these things. I think not enough people are buying them because why? You don't need them. I have an external drive hooked up to mine. All I do is move it. It takes seconds, takes minutes, and there you go. Bam, it's there. I don't have to wait hours and hours to have it move from one to another. So, and you don't have to have these. They have, like, I have the little Seagate one that's like 2 terabytes. I don't have these big hulking external drives that maybe take up a lot of space or whatever. So there's ways around it. That's the thing too. At least you have options. It's not like when the Vita, where you didn't really have an option. It was, that's it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It sucks, right? They should have cheaper third-party options, but if you're one of these companies, why am I going to waste my time making a third-party Xbox thing when people aren't going to buy it?
Right.
You know, people are not really buying the console as is. So that's another thing. So, did you see the sales for those? PS5 is outselling it like 2-1, so or even 3-1 in some cases. So, yeah,
I've seen the PS5 being more stores. Like it's not readily available, but more
right.
stores are getting it nowadays.
Definitely. I've seen it go into Walmart a few times. So, if you haven't got one yet and you have the money for it, I mean, it's
Or
available to you.
it's pretty easy to find online nowadays. Also, like I saw a video about scalpers getting pissed because they bought 2,000 PS5s hoping to like mark it up, but they can't do that anymore. And now they're like losing money on it.
Yeah, for a while in Japan, the PS5 was selling like crazy, and a lot of it was because they were being scalped in China.
Yeah.
So that was interesting as well. Like they kept saying, "Oh man, the PS5 sales are up," and it's like, yeah, a lot of those are because they're being sold in China from scalpers. So it's not really like saying a whole lot about the sales for the PS5 organically, but I guess sales are sales regardless.
Right.
Yeah, so that's one game that's coming. We know another game that is also coming. It's actually coming the same week as Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, which Mark, we talked about. Mark played the beta. They're going to have another beta, the last one, called the Server Slam. I don't know who decided that they needed to have it this weekend, May 12th to the 14th, because there's another game called Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom coming out that weekend. I'm not saying that
that's a small game. No one will care.
Yeah, no one. Okay, I mean, there's definitely going to be people playing this Server Slam.
Like
not
me.
every. Yeah, exactly. We know Mark doesn't like this version of Zelda. I'm probably not going to run to pick it up either because I didn't really care that much for the first one.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure Breath of the Wild 2 will be fine,
right,
from a gameplay perspective, but it's just not entirely in my wheelhouse. So
yeah,
if I could find it for cheap, sure, I'd try it, or if someone got it for me or something. But that's about it.
I can't say too much because I don't know what's going to happen when we get to that point. If I'm going to fall into the FOMO and I eventually just buy it because everybody's freaking talking about it, but
you'll buy the Japanese collector's edition that comes with silverware.
Hell no. No, but the silver will look kind of cool though. I do agree there. But yes, so May 12th to the 14th, you can play the Server Slam, which gives you access to level 20 cap character. You can play the prologue, the entirety of Act 1, and the first zone. And there's a big boss at the end as well. And if you beat the boss, you get like a mount.
Yeah, I beat that boss in the first beta, or the one I played. So it's going to go do that again.
Yeah, I guess you can. And that mount does carry over.
I wish it carried over from the last beta, but apparently not.
Well, I guess this gives you a reason to play this beta then.
Yeah.
I got to go re-download the beta again because I had deleted it thinking that there was going to be no more betas.
Right.
So, and this time actually play it. So, we'll see. You do, so you don't carry any progress from those early access open betas, but you do any rewards that you got from those you'll have in this as well. So,
right. Because I got like the wolf mount also. So I think that carries over.
Oh, that's cool. At least.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a neat thing that you'll be able to do pretty soon here. Something that you still can't do in China though is play Blizzard games because of that whole thing with NetEase and Blizzard having the fallout. And now NetEase, we talked about that. I think the last time we covered it was that NetEase was threatening a lawsuit, and they have come good on that. They are filing the lawsuit on Activision Blizzard for the total of 43.5 million US dollars. That's not anything to sneeze at. They are seeking basically to cover refunds for discontinued games and services. They are wanting also compensation for unsold merchandise, inventory, deposits on undeveloped games, and unequal provisions favoring Blizzard Entertainment in these licensing agreements. Yeah. So that's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo to say that they basically want to, get some money back for all the losses that they have incurred due to not having lengthened that deal that they had previously.
Right.
Do you think they will win?
I'd say it's possible. I mean, but some of the stuff is like weird. Like, of course, the licensing is going to be unequal on Blizzard's side. It's like, they provided the game. Like, you're just providing the translation and like the server,
is that the access
Chinese,
to be able to...
Chinese server upgrade, or that's it. But it's interesting. Or like once Microsoft does take over, it's probably gonna be all ironed out within like a few days, or like a month or two.
Yeah, that's something interesting that I want to see too. Like, how quickly does Microsoft try to make good on this?
Yeah,
because
you gotta imagine, you gotta think that like Activision kind of needs China or needs that huge WoW population or Overwatch or stuff like that.
I mean, all they've ever wanted is to have a lot in China, especially on the Microsoft end. So anything they can do to help that, they're definitely gonna. I don't even know if they can go around them in China. If they can do it their own way, or they have to go through NetEase.
They don't have to go through NetEase, but I think they do have to go through like a Chinese company, or I mean, they could set up like Blizzard China, but you got to imagine the cost for that would be higher than going to just like a regular or a traditional company.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one, I guess, to watch as well. Another game that released in this week that I didn't even mention, that Horizon Forbidden West DLC, Burning Shores, is also out there. You can, Mark could technically get it if he wanted to for his copy of Horizon Forbidden West, but he's probably not.
I really hated. I saw the update. Like, I read some of the update notes, and I really hate all this really stupid phobias people have nowadays. Like, this one, it's like, oh, we added a mode in case you're scared of water. Like,
yes, deep water phobia. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, now you can't drown, or now it's easier to see. Or like, when I booted up the Marvel Avengers game like a month ago, it was like one of the warnings initially was like, oh, we have an arachnophobia mode where like some of the robots look like spiders. You can turn those off, and it's like, really? Why don't you just either A, get over it, or B, don't play the damn game?
I mean, people have phobias. Why shouldn't they
be able to play the game? When it comes to like a real thing, if I had a spider phobia and a spider was crawling on my hand, I might freak out. Seeing a spider robot in a game that is fiction, it's not like it's real,
Right.
It's like, what were those people doing like when like the spider game came out on PS1? There's no fucking arachnophobia mode for that thing.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Mark, but I think it's more of in the accessibility kind of thing that they've, especially Sony has been.
Having subtitles or like a colorblind mode is fine, because that's like a real disability.
Right.
You being scared of drowning when you're sitting in your apartment playing this game, not so much.
Yeah, like if it was for VR, I think I would kind of understand.
Yeah, but again,
right?
It's the whole mindset of, well, yeah, we had that Horizon VR game, but that's not important. But like, you're playing a game, or it's fake. Like,
right. But I mean, when you get immersed into it, Like, let's say you're playing a Resident Evil game, don't you get scared? Like, don't you have, if you have claustrophobia, you might feel that while you're playing? I mean,
Not really. Well, like, what if I have a zombie phobia? It's like, what am I not supposed to play those games then?
I guess, yeah, that would be more of a problem, I think. If you had
Yeah.
zombie phobia, I don't know why you would play that game at all. But like, technically, the water thing is not the whole part of it. Is we're not playing Abzu here, where the whole point is to be in the water. Like,
Right.
being in the water is just part of it. So it allows you to kind of get through that without being like, oh man, I can't progress here because I have this thing of if I drown in the game, I'm gonna feel like I'm drowning also in real life. So
I mean, I would tell, like I said, I'd tell that person either get over it or don't play the game. Move on.
I guess, but I just don't see where, like, it's an option. Like, I can turn it off.
What would that person do when they play Echo the Dolphin? Just freak out?
I think at that point they just wouldn't play Echo the Dolphin if that really
Yeah.
bothered them. I don't, but I get what you're saying, Mark. Like, I get it from your perspective, but I think it's really not that big a deal.
I have deep water phobia, so I guess I can't play Mario, Sonic, Kirby, Zelda. But like, nope, those are all out.
I mean, also those things are like, a lot of them are 2D, so maybe it doesn't affect you as much as like when you see it like as beautifully as it looks in Horizon. So that
trust me,
also
the underwater is not great in that game.
Yeah.
So like, I would probably use the mode.
Yeah.
Honestly, just to make the game brighter, or like underwater brighter, because like underwater it's pretty dark, like intentionally. So I would just make it easier to get around in. But it's not like, oh, now I feel calmer because my phobia is sated. Be like, no, now
but it does work for you though, because you just said that it makes it easier for you to be able to see in the water.
But it's not a psychological hang up,
right? Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to accessibility, I don't have an issue with them adding things that don't affect me.
I don't mind some issues, like I said, but having a big warning on like Avengers, like the second warning being like, oh, if you're scared of spiders, turn this mode off. It's like,
yeah, it's like Grounded, right? Like that whole game is about insects, but they made it to where you could also turn them into little, childlike or cartoony looking things that are not as scary. So you could kill them without suffering arachnophobia. I don't. So
my phobia is dying in games, so just have God mode on for me constantly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get that is a thing in a lot of games.
Some games, yeah.
They need to have that in more games, I guess. It's kind of like, Sony needs to feel like they have to have a new studio all the time. So they have acquired another one, Firewalk Studios, which this is technically, it was made by some folks that were with Bungie. So they left Bungie to form their own studio, and then lo and behold, they have now been bought by Sony. So they technically work for Sony anyway. They're basically going to be working on another one of Sony's multiplayer initiative games. They once again stated that they have plenty of those in the pipeline. And
with like Ubisoft and The Division, probably barely any of them are going to hit.
Yeah, I mean, they really only need one to hit, quite honestly. But if they can get a few of them to hit,
I think if they ever make a Destiny 3, like that would probably do pretty well.
I just don't think that they are.
Well, I mean, they have to eventually. They can't just keep bolting more shit onto Destiny, too. Because eventually that tech is just going to become, too cumbersome to deal with,
Yeah,
but
I mean, that's the thing, too. Like, somebody talked about it, right? In that they said in order to do that, they would have to, like, undo all the things that they've been doing with Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And start like making a whole new engine, put things in it, and then they have to kind of quietly Sunset Destiny 2. Like that's a whole lot of work. You
But like,
know,
do you think in 10 years Destiny 2 will still be around, or do you think they'll just move on to Destiny 3? Like, I don't mean like Destiny 3 is going to come out next year, but I
yeah.
just mean it will
I mean,
eventually have to come out.
maybe for the next version of consoles, whatever those are,
Yeah,
they might have plans of there being a Destiny 3, right? Where they can start fresh and say, listen, this is a brand new experience only for PlayStation 6 and Xbox, whatever. And if Nintendo's involved with, I mean, just because,
nope, it's not coming here.
yeah, like, you know, that if Nintendo's still doing, if they decide to do something else besides the Switch and decide to uh, come and want to be part of the technology war, which they haven't for so many years that I guess it doesn't matter. But still, the whole point is they go, okay, Destiny 2, not going to work with this. It's Destiny 3, and that's it. And this is a brand new thing, and we're going to start from scratch. I think they would have to do that. Like, I don't think we're going to see Destiny 3 while the PS5 and Xbox Series are the main consoles right now.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make sense. They just released the Witch Queen thing not too long ago. I mean, they keep putting out content for it. Like, I just don't see them going through all that. So, but I do think at some point we will probably get a Destiny 3.
I take more like the long view, where like, they made, Guild Wars 1, and then they eventually made Guild Wars 2, or they made, EverQuest
Right,
1.
but then have they ever made a Guild Wars 3? Like,
well, Guild Wars 2 is still relatively new.
right, but couldn't Destiny 2 also in the same vein do that? I mean,
Yeah,
like,
but I guess I just mean like Destiny 2, they seem to like want to push that envelope further. And also I've heard like Destiny 2 is kind of a nightmare to work on, because it
right,
already has like all that tech debt from Destiny 1. So imagine
yeah,
if they could like clean, here are your characters, here's a whole new area, but we'll see.
yeah. That, I mean, I've seen
I
a
mean,
lot of people getting upset saying, "Oh, fix your game, do all this, give us Destiny 3, give us something different," and everybody has that refute of, "Hey, this is not just simple as, oh, let me start working on the engine tomorrow, and then in a year we're gonna have Destiny 3." That's not how that's gonna work. I mean,
right.
so is there somebody perhaps toying around with the idea and thinking about things that could be in a Destiny 3? Sure.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that we're gonna see that anytime soon. Why not see it? Like you said, maybe 10 years, maybe at that time.
Well, if you go by what they initially said, that Destiny 1 is supposed to be, a 10-year game.
Right. But I
Imagine
was
Destiny. Yeah.
yeah. Like Activision was like, hell no. Like, so we don't play that game of just having one game and have it be around for 10 years. We gotta have
But imagine if they have that, okay, Destiny 2 is supposed to be our 10-year game. By that metric, it's 4 years from now when Destiny 3 is
yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's not impossible that it could happen, but I don't know. Definitely right now, what they care about is having these other different multiplayer
Right.
games be out there. They want to help this new studio help them grow the live service operations, deliver a truly special game for gamers. We'll see how that goes. Again, like you said, we'll see how any of these multiplayer games work and if any of them are fun or something worth actually checking out. But until we see one and until it's available for people to play, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have more layoffs happening. Meta itself already had cut 11,000 employees or 13% of its workforce late last year. It said it's going to cut 10,000 more jobs by May, so little by little, and we've seen Disney doing it as well. So now, unfortunately, Ready at Dawn, who's one of the game studios that Meta purchased to work on VR games, is they 1/3 of their studio was laid off. Really sucks. Of course, obviously, Ready at Dawn were the folks that are known for making 1886, the older 1886. Sorry, which there's a lot of people that actually like that game and want a second one.
They are dumb and wrong.
It was short enough to where it didn't bother them, I guess. But
that's the problem. It's too short. You can blow through that game like 4 hours.
Like, man, I remember thinking the premise was the fucking shit when that came out, or when they first announced that, and then when the game came out and that's what it was like, oh man, how disappointing.
Right.
Like, but definitely,
it's the problem of like what Rare went through, kind of. They got bought by a studio. Like, Ready at Dawn wasn't like a great developer, but they were competent enough. Or, they made good portable games for the most part. They got bought by another company and they got forced to work on VR crap that no one cares about. And they are getting, killed over it.
Yeah, they're doing was it Echo VR?
Yeah, Echo like Lone Echo and Echo Arena, which I think shut down or is shutting down like later this year.
Yeah, so they worked on that. Order 1886, which is probably their most famous game.
They worked God of War, Ghost of Sparta, the PSP game,
and the other Olympus.
The other one, and
Daxter. Yeah. And they worked on, was it the Portable Kami or?
Yeah, because originally a PS2 game. Like, so, they were okay. I mean, they weren't like the best studio, but they could crank out a good game. And now they're being VR bitches that market is already kind of slowly dwindling. So
yeah. I mean, it depends on who you listen to, right? Because some people are saying, "Oh man, look at how the MetaQuest 2 is still selling, and it's selling this amount." And
it didn't sell worth shit last year for the holidays. Like, they dropped the sales by 95%. It's like, that's not. If you think that's healthy, you're living in a dream world.
But didn't they also raise the price on?
Yeah, they raised it by like $100. I mean, they also like lowered it on the cheap or the expensive model to be pretty much like what it used to be. But like $100 price increase would not drop the interest 95%.
Yeah, I think from like casual purchasers that had seen the other price and said, "Oh man, I might dip into it." Yes,
right.
But anybody that was serious about VR, yeah, they would have.
I think that also they've reached saturation point where everyone who really wants VR already has it. They don't. I don't know about you or if you've been in a Best Buy or anything, but like they don't even have like the VR kiosks anymore.
No, they don't
around here to like for people to like check it out. And as they've been talking about online over the past 2 weeks, like PSVR 2 is dead in the water.
I still want to see what happens to that if it ever hits stores.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to count that out yet until it hits stores, and then if we're talking about those boxes are sitting there and nobody's buying them, or Sony's having to slash the price in half or whatever, then at that point, is it a victory if you're selling them at half the price, and taking a huge loss?
Right.
So unfortunately, very much like mobile gaming, we're seeing that VR is also kind of hitting that saturation point too. It's interesting to me. I was listening to several things that were talking about how really consoles are being bought by our generation more than anyone else. The Gen Z and generation after us, they're not really buying consoles that much. They're not really that much into video games.
Well, I
You
think
know,
they are, but it's just what video games are is different to them.
right? They're playing the free to play stuff. You
Right.
don't need a console for it. You can play on your tablet, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on the computer.
Yeah.
So you don't need to buy a console for that. And I think also like I've realized it some with my daughter as well. Like, and this is not from somebody. I didn't try to get my daughter into playing video games on purpose. She found that by herself. I wasn't there constantly being like, oh, well, now you got to play this game with me, and now you got to play. Like, for me, it was actually the opposite, right? I saw my brother playing, and then, but my brother never actively said, oh, Sean, here's the controller, play this while I go do something else or whatever. Like, it was basically me deciding. My dad bought a Super Nintendo, and that's kind of how I entertained myself, and I kind of got into games that way. Even though I like other things, like I like going outside and playing sports and other stuff. It wasn't just I was video games is my only thing. But like my daughter found Roblox by herself. She found Minecraft by herself. Other games that are like sort of in a more available state that she could play with her friends, right, over
Yeah.
Discord or whatever. And that's kind of what she likes. If I present an actual game to her, aside from It Takes Two, which she really got into, not a lot of other games really appeal to her that much. So I find it interesting. And when she talks to her friends, a lot of them don't have, consoles in the house either or whatever.
Right.
Or if they do, it's kind of like me. Oh, that's my dad's thing. So it is interesting to see like where that's going. Like, is gaming gonna be different? Could Microsoft actually be the one that's like foolproofing themselves for that time where, man, consoles is really gonna be a thing that we're really not talking about that much? If we're talking about connecting a thingamadoo to your TV, you buy a controller and all the games are on that, instead of paying $500 for this thing that sits in front of your TV. I don't know when or if that ever happens, but I do wonder sometimes if actually Microsoft's just headed in the right direction. They're just doing it like 10 years too early.
Yeah.
Right. But we'll see if or when that ever comes. Speaking of, at least let's talk about some things that are releasing at some point here, or perhaps relatively soon in the case of some of these games. I know the indie stuff is not necessarily your bag all the time, Mark, but did you watch any of this or?
I saw a few trailers, but
Yeah.
only like briefly. But
anything stand out to you that you saw, or?
Not really. Right? It all seemed that was that the one at the cat game.
There was two cat games. There was the night market one that's been shown off a bazillion times, it feels like, and then there was that small like black cat.
Yeah, that's when I
Yeah.
saw. Yeah.
Okay.
That might be okay. I mean, they kind of look like a better looking version of that, like Untitled Goose Game or something. But
yes, yeah. I've been excited for Oxenfree 2. So the fact that they showed this off in the indie world, interesting that they noted the Netflix thing there. Night School Studios, a Netflix studio, like
yeah,
they were not being coy about putting that on there. Obviously, Netflix owns the studio there, but yeah, I love the first game, so I'm excited for this game to come out and that you can. Technically, I guess I could play it on a console, or I could also play it on my phone on just subscribing through Netflix. So that's something interesting to think about as well when that game does come out.
yeah.
Another one that obviously interests me because I've talked many times about how much I love rhythm games, and I felt like, man, would they ever do this? And they finally have Crypt of the Necrodancer has another like spin-off game, and this one's called Rifts of the Necrodancer, and it's actually like a sort of a play on Guitar Hero. Rock Band, where it actually has like the musical track that goes down, and you have to hit the note in time with the beat, but you have to hit it in a way like the rhythm game way, and not well, it is also a rhythm game, but it's not in the same like kind of adventure
Right.
uh
Yeah.
type thing like the Zelda one or the other one was. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's still cool that they announced this and it exists. That's not something I thought was a thing until I saw this. So, but the art style is so well done that immediately, as soon as I saw the girl on there, I was like, oh, this is a Necrodancer thing, because they're the ones that do that style. But yeah, I love games like this. So pretty awesome that they're doing this, and it also has like a story mode too, which is pretty neat as well. So cool that they kind of brought that in too. So that was one of the ones that I was kind of left me kind of like, oh, I really want to see what this is going to look like when it actually comes out.
Yeah.
I am one that has been excited for that. What's it called? Mineko's Night Market, that I feel like has been shown off at least 3 or 4 times by now. It's supposed to have come out, I don't know how many times, and it's finally coming supposedly on September 26th to the Switch. So it's like a narrative sort of adventure simulation game that you have like various jobs around, and you're trying to have this market that you get people to buy things at. Some of the other stuff wasn't that intriguing to me for the most part. I still need to check out both the Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon and Cult of the Lamb at some point. I don't know when I'll actually do that, but
Right.
yeah. And then another, I liked Blasphemous, the first one, so it was cool that they're having a second one. That was pretty neat that's coming out. And then they had that I forgot what it's called, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which kind of looked like Jet Set Radio
Oh yeah, I
a
remember
bit.
that. Yeah.
So that looked neat too. I'll be interested to see more of that as well. But if we're gonna talk about Nintendo games that I love and did not expect to get this soon, right now, as you're listening to this, you could literally go play the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC, the final one, Future Redeemed, and it's actually supposed to be bigger than the Golden Torna one, which came out for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So that's pretty. Like, I didn't expect that either. I thought it was going to be maybe something in between Future Connected and the Torna one. Not that it's going to be bigger than that one.
Right.
We got to see all of the founding fathers and I guess mothers and all that stuff. You got to see like adult Shulk and adult Rex, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna be excited to dive into this story. That will probably be the game that I am talking about the most if we do a show next week. So yeah, man. Thank you, Nintendo, for just like shadow dropping this and then going, oh yeah, it's out in a week. Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't bought that $30 DLC, you might want to do that now. So
Yeah,
go
'cause it'll probably
ahead.
go up in price.
No, I don't think it will. It's just
Well, didn't Torna get like a separate, like a
well, Torna
separate
got a
release?
physical edition,
Yeah, that's what I
right? A
meant.
standalone.
Yeah.
This, I think, if they haven't said that it's gonna have a physical edition right now. I don't know if they will release it in the future, but right now it is digital. And yeah, so it'll be at that $30 price point that it's been at since the game launched originally last year. I just did not. I thought when they said the fall that it was really going to come in the fall.
Yeah.
But then realizing that, oh, you have those 2 big Pokemon DLCs in the fall, you kind of don't want that also coming in the fall and then getting eaten alive. So yeah, give people stuff to do here in April. And a little bit before we get to Zelda, and then they kind of have Zelda to carry them until whenever it is that they're going to announce
Till next year.
their next stuff, you know. And then there's Advance Wars that came out a couple of days ago as well that I have to. I'm still like trying to get myself to not buy the freaking Pixel remasters. I keep saying no, I'm gonna wait, and then everybody, I keep looking at my timeline to see people playing it now, and I'm like, nope, don't fall into that. Don't have to keep telling myself not to. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and I just went through that whole list of stuff that's coming on Game Pass, but there is more stuff coming. This is kind of leading into our, I guess, unless you have something else that before we get into that really quick. What'd you think of Suzume? Or
yeah, I saw that last week. It was good. It's in line with that other guy, the director's like past work. Like
Your Name
and Weathering with You. I saw the subbed version. I didn't see the dubbed, but I assume that's also good. Right. I like the main actress to the dubbed version quite a bit. So
for like me that just saw the name of the movie and Tata Keiki reviewed it last week as well. Like, what is it about? Or
a young girl, or like a high school girl and a high school guy, they are tasked with basically closing doors, like mysterious doors to like the netherworld. And if they don't, then like this worm thing comes out of the doors that creates earthquakes. So that's why they have to shut them. But the boy gets transformed into a 3-legged chair that is like runs around and is anthropomorphized.
Okay.
And they're trying to chase down, like, the doors can be sealed by, they have like a key, which made me think of Kingdom Hearts actually quite a bit. Yeah. They have like a whole like ritual they have to do, and it looks just like how Sora would close a key, the keyhole.
Yeah.
But they're trying to find these 2 keystones, and if they can find them and place them, like the doors will shut permanently for a while, I think. And like one of them is like a cat that is like running around. They have magical powers because the cat is the one who transformed the guy into the door, or the chair. Yeah. Sorry. So they're trying to chase him, the cat, but they're also trying to close the doors. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
It's one of those types of like Japanese, I wouldn't say supernatural, but kind of like fairy tale, like modern day fairy tale movies that they are pretty fond of.
Right.
Because like Your Name had similar. I just rewatched that with a friend also like yesterday, and Weathering with You has the same, not the same story, but the same kind of elements.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you like those, it's pretty good, and it looks really really good. Obviously,
definitely one I've got to go watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know how. I mean, you have an expensive theater by you, so I don't know if they'll have it or not. But
well, they have one that's cheap, and actually, usually Tuesdays they have like okay. So the one that I went to see, the 4DX, is not by me.
Yeah.
We have one. The one by me, the closest one actually by me, is they do have like a $5 Tuesdays thing. So I might see if maybe, I don't know if I'll see it tomorrow or like another Tuesday, but definitely one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the theater is by me. They just have matinees until like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.
Yeah.
$bucks. But then even after that, like the max price for a ticket is like 10.
Oh, wow. That's really cheap. No.
So yeah,
it gets kind of expensive after.
Yeah. Like Jens, he saw Mario, I think just like a regular theater. And for him and his wife, it was like damn near, it was like over $40, and it's like what?
Yep, that's how much it cost me for a 4DX with Anaya. So
yeah, but I think he just saw like a regular showing. So
that's crazy that costs that much for just
yeah. For me and my friend to see Mario was like 11:30 or something. I think actually it was just like 10:30. So I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, you should see it in the theater if you can. I mean, do you like subs or dubs more?
I I don't care. I watch One Piece subbed.
Yeah.
Maybe for Anaya, she might care about the dubbed.
Yeah,
You know?
like if you're just gonna see it alone, it's up to you. I mean, if it's with her, probably dubs. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I don't really care. I saw it subbed, but when I'm gonna probably buy it when it comes out on home release, so I'll probably see the dubbed version just to see the main actress, like how she sounds in the role.
That is crazy. So the One by Me, sorry, this is
Yeah,
terrible podcast stuff, but the One by Me, how on earth do you have this on a school night at 10 o'clock at night?
yeah,
Like, you would think that this would be at, like, I don't know, 6 p.m. or something like that.
right,
That kind of sucks. I can't really justify taking her at that time on a Tuesday.
right, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I wish it was at an earlier time. Dude.
See, let me check. The One by Me, uh, it's playing the sub. They're both playing this 2 times per day. The sub, sorry, the subbed version is 12:40 p.m. and 6:50 p.m. and the dubbed version is like 3:40 p.m. and 10:15 p.m.
Mm.
But that's every day. I mean, so you know,
And it's also a 2-hour movie, so I wouldn't be getting out of there till midnight, which
right.
That's not great. Yeah, I'd have to just look at when we're not on the podcast about what's there on if it's even still there on Saturday. So yeah, going back to what I was talking about with the games that are coming out, there's a lot, especially if you like. I mean, other than the one big one, which obviously we talked about, which is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I'm sure a lot of people are going to go buy that. And they're going to be playing the crap out of that. So I still need to go play the first one. So that being said, I did mention a lot of these, but it's so funny because I'm pretty sure that Xseed was really hoping that RPG vibe was going to be filled by Trinity Trigger, which is a co-op game very much in the Secret of Mana vibe. And then all of a sudden Nintendo releases the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion on the same day. So that might steal some of its thunder there. I'm actually sort of interested in Trinity Trigger, but now with Xenoblade, I'm probably going to wait on that. There's a Souls-like action-adventure game, Strayed Light, that comes out as well. I played the original Fairy Fencer F. This is like a remaster that's coming to all the consoles except Xbox. Refrain Chord, which if you like strategy games with some RPG, definitely worth checking out. It's one of the better Idea Factory games. Sometimes they can really come out with some stinkers aside from the Neptunia stuff.
That's a little hit or miss.
Even that, exactly like you said. Even that is a little bit hit or miss as well. The new Genshin Impact game, Honkai Star Rail, also comes out in a couple of days. So if you are Genshin Impact out or you want the next sort of thing in that, it is there. That Bramble the Mountain King, which there is a demo for it on the PS5, also comes out this on the 27th. Good Lord. And then that Case of the Benedict Fox thing that I talked about, which Annapurna Joint is going to be pretty good. And of course, if you haven't played Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, the expansion comes to the new consoles and the old ones, I guess. This on the same day as Jedi Survivor. So there is plenty of stuff for you to go check out in this weekend for you. If you don't have something to play, there's something pretty much for everyone at that point. And then the next week, Redfall will be there. Probably not lot of people maybe going to buy it because of the whole thing with that controversy we talked about last week. But you can go play it on Game Pass. So
Yeah.
there's that, I guess. But all right. I will say that I've obviously, should have talked to Marc about this before, so I would have come prepared. But Marc is going to have some surgery done, so he may not be around for an entire anywhere from 2 weeks to a month.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna play it by ear.
We may have a show next week. We may not. I may have to go start trying to find temporary guest hosts or several temporary guest hosts. May talk to Keith and company over there, see what I can line up so we can still do this. So it may not come out on Monday. It may actually come out early on Sunday, or so we'll see. But I'll at least make tweets about it. So if you follow me at WTimSean or at the WTim Network, there'll be tweets there letting you know. You can also follow Market Humanity Plague. If you like what you heard or you always want to support us, you can do that by subscribing to the network on YouTube. If that's how you prefer, you can also just find us Video Games to the Max on your favorite podcatcher and subscribe there. Or also, of course, you can give us a review, 5 stars, or however you feel like we deserve there. Appreciate it either way. And well, whether we do one next week or not, thank you for joining us. Always appreciate y'all being around and listening or watching. And we'll see you
Later.